is going to issue a thin red line to Bashir Assad when he was president, way back in the day. He's going to offer a thin red line, and the thin red line is, you know, we don't know how you're conducting the war, what's, you know, specifically going on, but here is what you're not going to do, Bashir Assad. Bashir Assad, you're not going to use chemical weapons on your own people. So that was Obama's thin red line. You're not going to, here's the thin red line, you're not going to cross it, motherfucker. Let's see. You know, let's see what you do now. Now that's hypocritical because America has a shit ton of chemical weapons stockpile. We have the Army Bluegrass Depot in Kentucky, which has 2% of the chemical weapons. There's Newport Army Ammunition Plant in Indiana, the Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland, the Anniston Army Depot in Alabama, the Pueblo Depot Activity in Colorado. There's 10%. 10% of all of our chemical weapons are in Pueblo, Colorado. So there's all that radon. Wasn't there all that radon? Is that where it's coming from? Umatilla Depot Activity in Oregon, Pine Bluff Arsenal in Arkansas, and Tulare County Army Depot in Utah. The Mormons actually have 42% of all of our chemical weapons in that Tulare Army Depot in Utah. So, if the thin red line is going to be issued for him stockpiling chemical weapons and the United Nations gets to go in there and, you know, make sure, has the United Nations invaded Kentucky, Indiana, Maryland, Alabama, Colorado, Oregon, Arkansas, and Utah to make sure they got rid of their chemical weapons? And then they said that there's 6.6% located on the Johnston Atoll. So that's a good thing about having 10 colonies, right? We got 750 military bases and 10 colonies. That's, you know, political science definition is we're an empire. And part of the empire is the colonies. We get to dump all the, you know, chemical weapons in the Johnston Atoll in the Pacific Ocean. So that's hypocritical, is it not? Is that not hypocritical? Hey, Syria, you can't have no chemical weapons, you know, stockpiled. Well, hey, America, why do you have so many chemical weapons stockpiled? This is hypocrisy. This is hypocrisy. This is do as you say, but not as you do? Fuck you. Why don't you do as you say? Why don't you live by your own standards? In the Bluegrass Depot, Madison County, Kentucky, there's 3 different chemical weapons. You got sarin gas, you got VX gas, and you got mustard gas. There's 523 short tons of nerve agent GB, sarin gas, and VX gas, and mustard gas, or about 2% of the U.S. chemical weapons stockpile. So there's only 2%, but that's 523 short tons. What's a short ton? And nerve agents, sarin gas, VX gas, mustard gas. I'm sure that can't be dangerous. I'm sure that, no, actually, shit, okay, there's been a bunch of leaks at the Bluegrass Depot in Madison County, Kentucky. August 27th, 2007, there was a sarin gas leak. Oops. We accidentally let some sarin gas out into the United States. 2008, 2 leaks of mustard gas. Whoops. Maybe that's, you know, Kentucky's problem. Keep on voting Republican because you got all that mustard and sarin gas. Maybe that's, you know, keep on electing Mitch McConnell because you got all that sarin and mustard gas leaking. 2008, again, July 12th, there's a sarin gas leak, and then July 25th, 2 leaks of mustard gas. 2012, sarin gas leak. 2013, sarin gas leak. 2017, mustard gas leak. So it would be consistent. It's also dangerous for us to be stockpiling these chemical weapons because there's these damn leaks. And I don't know if the U.S. military-industrial complex just thinks they're so smart, right? We're going to keep some of our chemical weapons behind just in case, you know, shit hits the fan and Syria starts using, you know, their chemical weapons, so then we'll have chemical weapons to throw back on them. Is that in Pueblo, Colorado, in the chemical weapons stockpile in Pueblo, Colorado, there's 1,300 tons of sulfur mustard gas inside of 400,000 shells. So you have nearly 500,000 missiles with sulfur mustard gas in them. 500,000 shells? Boy. So let's in interviews, Bashar Assad lied about his chemical weapons stockpile when it came to Obama's red line, and he did all those interviews, right? And he said he didn't have it, but then eventually Russia brokered the deal, but we found out that Syria did in fact have chemical weapons stockpiles. And he kind of laughed and smiled about it later, like he's a fucking liar. And so it wouldn't shock me if Bashar Assad was chemically using chemical weapons against his own people. Now you got Belarus, you have Cameroon, 30-year dictators, and then you also have Joseph Kony, right? So, chemical weapons. Let's just talk about, last but not least, what do these chemical weapons do? So you got VX. What's VX? It's a human-made chemical warfare agent classified as a nerve agent. Nerve agents are the most toxic and rapidly acting of the known chemical warfare agents. They are similar to pesticides, insect-killing chemicals called organophosphates in terms of how they work and what kinds of harmful effects they cause. Wikipedia says it's an extremely toxic synthetic chemical. This is VX. VX, okay? We're going to talk about sarin gas, and then we're going to talk about mustard gas. But VX is a toxic synthetic chemical in the organophosphorus class, specifically a thiophosphonate. In the class of nerve agents, it was developed for the military use in chemical warfare after translation of earlier discoveries of organophosphate toxicity in pesticide research. So that's some nasty shit, right? Mustard gas, though technically not a gas, okay, it's often called sulfur mustard by scholarly sources, is the prototypical substance of the sulfur-based family of cytotoxic and vesicant chemical warfare agents, which can form large blisters on exposed skin and in the lungs. Mustard gas can get in the lungs, and they said it's technically not a gas, so what the fuck is it? Has a history of use as a blister agent in warfare, along with organo-arsenic compounds such as lewisite. So most well-studied of such agents, related chemical compounds with similar chemical structure, similar properties, form a classic compounds known collectively as sulfur mustards, or mustard agents. Pure sulfur mustards are colorless, viscous liquids at room temperature. So mustard gas is like gasoline. It's just a liquid, right? It's not gas at all. It's a liquid. When used in impure forms such as warfare agent, they're usually yellow-brown and have an odor resembling mustard plants, garlic, or horseradish, hence the name. Okay, so it smells like fucking mustard. The common name of mustard gas is inaccurate because the sulfur mustard is not actually vaporized but dispersed as a fine mist of liquid droplets. Mustard gas was originally assigned the name LOST after the scientist Wilhelm Lommel and whoever developed the method of large-scale production for the Imperial German Army in 1916. Why do we have so much fucking mustard gas? Okay, so sarin gas. Sarin gas is an extremely toxic synthetic organophosphorus compound. So sarin is kind of like VX, right? VX and sarin gas are both organophosphorus compounds. It's a colorless, odorless liquid. Again, sarin gas isn't even a gas. God, is anything anybody ever told us true? A colorless, odorless liquid, it's used as a chemical weapon due to its extreme potency as a nerve agent. Extremely toxic synthetic organophosphorus compound, colorless, odorless. Okay, there you go. Formula C4H10FO2P. Now, it said nerve agents. A lot of these were nerve agents. I was like, what the hell is a nerve agent? Nerve agents sometimes are also called nerve gases. They're a class of organic chemicals that disrupt the mechanisms by which nerves transfer messages to organs. So a nerve agent fucks with your nerves. It fucks with neurotransmitters. Specifically, the disruption is caused by the blocking of the ACHE, the acetylcholine esterase, an enzyme that catalyzes the breakdown of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter. So it breaks down a neurotransmitter. It fucks up your nerves. So that means you're like, you know, you can't feel pain and shit. There's nerve. What are nerves? But I feel like nerves are what makes you feel, pain, and your senses, your sight, your hearing. Oh, those are nerves, right? All that neurotransmitters, what makes your brain understand what's going on around you, which is why they're terrible, terrible weapons. So, I just want to mention that, Obama was being a hypocrite. We have chemical stockpiles all over the place. We're not, technically gassing our own people, but in the Bluegrass Depot, there's mustard gas leaks and sarin gas leaks. So we're kind of gassing our own people, right? So, I don't know, should there be a thin red line? Should the United Nations issue a thin red line against Utah, Arkansas, Oregon, Colorado, Alabama? Does the United Nations need to go into Maryland, Indiana, and Kentucky to make sure they're, properly getting rid of, and the Johnston Atoll, are they making sure they're properly getting rid of all the chemical weapons? It's just hypocrisy, right? Do as I say, not as I do. Fuck you, motherfucker. Why don't you do as you fucking say? You live by your own goddamn standards. Jesus Christ, has nobody heard the golden rule? Am I the only one that's ever heard of the golden rule? There you go.